How's it going? And welcome to the Caffeinated Coordinators Podcast. My name is Scott Pellegrin, Coach Pell. And joining me from the other side of the table, the other side of the ball, he is the king of the call sheet, the quarterback guru, and a member of the Lafayette Youth Football Hall of Fame, Coach G, Tyler Gaspard.
¿Cómo se va, everybody? Oh, man. Lafayette Hall of Fame. Whew.
Yeah. And then the third man in the booth, he is the producer of this show, the freshman football jack of all trades, the godfather of EA TV, and the voice of Spartan baseball, Coach Eric Brownfield.
Yeah, a lot of voice of Spartan baseball lately.
Yeah.
A lot of that one.
It's tournament season, man.
Cool.
You're the voice of...
Man.
We're hosting a big one.
Wait, you're the voice of Parkview baseball, West Monroe baseball,
Yeah.
Shaw baseball.
Vanderbilt Catholic, Hahnville, Central
Yeah.
Christian tomorrow. Hopefully nobody today.
You were the voice of a lot of baseball.
I am drawing a rain turtle out on the field at third block today.
Well, EA, we already got our game in. So.
But there's a game that's going to be played if it doesn't rain.
That's what I'm saying. So if it rains, it's not going to.
It's going to rain. It's going to rain.
Yep.
Love those guys. Hope they have a great game Saturday when they make that up somewhere. But yeah, let's not do that today.
Yeah, even though EA baseball's off the clock, Brownfield might end up, if the rain passes, having to go call
I'm going to
the
be
game.
watching the radar. And it might be one of those things where you get like that hour and a half delay because once you start the game, you're playing baseball.
You got to play it.
You know, so it's like, I mean, good Lord, we might be here till 9 o'clock tonight unintentionally. And that's, I'm not for that.
Find your own damn announcer.
I hated it because West Monroe was in, and look, I got to shout out to Gene Ponte at West Monroe. The radio broadcast was incredible last night. It's great to have people up in the booth doing that. It's always great when Rev does it as well. And you know, we hated to be cheering for Parkview there in the 7th, but it's like, guys, we can't do extra innings. We're tired. We got a long weekend ahead of us. Sorry, but we're going with the team that can win it right now. And they did. So congratulations. Great game last night. Great game.
That's how youth umpires feel when you got 5 games in a row and you're trying to keep them on schedule so that you could actually go home at some point. It's like, can the home team please win? Jeez. So, welcome back, everybody. We are going to continue our theme here in the off season of today is going to be all about youth sports, how it pertains to football. We're going to probably dabble in a little more youth baseball.
Yeah.
You know, because that's in full swing right now, and that's a very hot topic when it comes to youth sports and what happens when they graduate up to being in high school. So today is all things youth sports, baseball, AAU, 7-on-7, middle school youth, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
but
I guess
first,
you can say 7-on-7. I mean, youth and travel.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there
yeah.
is some
And
high school leagues that.
Right, and yeah, especially with the 7-on-7s in football, that's high school kids doing it. But first, we gonna throw it over to Coach G. He's gonna give shout outs to our people that give us free stuff and introduce our game for the day.
Yeah, let's go. So I got we still got Gaspar's Cajun Heat.
Gaspar.
I cooked the red beans and rice with it last night.
I bet that was good.
It was really good, actually. Very, very good. Cafe, French roast coffee. Drinking it again this morning. I love it. Did we have another one? No, that was it. And then we got our mugs. Okay.
I'm working on the merch.
Okay.
Working on the merch.
We played a freshman game last week, and guy was like, "Hey, you're with the Caffeinated Coordinators." I was like, "Yeah, I am."
As a matter of fact, I am.
He said, "What's up with the merch, man?" And I was like, "Bro, we're working on it." So I think we need to start getting maybe, I don't know if it'll be a hat or a shirt, something that people can start supporting us with.
I'm gonna start putting the full court press on the merch starting next week. I got a project I got to knock out today. As my kids are completing a project in class, so I'm gonna go full blown merch next week.
I like it. Yeah. So the game, Triple H.
R.I.P. Lemmy from Motorhead.
Yeah.
Gaspar don't know who I'm talking about.
Oh, man, come on now.
So I think it's a good week to get back to our numbers game.
Love it.
Our favorite numbers, just a random number, whatever. I like the way you did it this morning. That was pretty cool. So how about Coach Brownfield? You start us off right here. Lead us off.
Sure. For me, 22. As a kid, as a young kid, I watched Emmitt Smith run all over LSU.
Oh wow.
some good LSU teams, at Florida, and we didn't like Florida, didn't like anybody from Florida, and so it was hard when the Cowboys drafted him. I didn't want him to draft him. I was like, "That's a Florida guy, I don't want." And but came around, and he was Emmitt Smith was a great guy, and on a team that had its share of character issues. I'll have to admit that, and for fairness' sake, and Emmett was not one of those, and the game I'll never forget is 1993 at the Meadowlands against the Giants. It's for the NFC East Championship, and he has a separated shoulder, and he has 32 carries for 168 yards, and 10 or 11 catches for 71 yards. And was crying, like you could see him crying on camera when he was getting up from a tackle. Like he was in extreme amounts of pain. And Cowboys went on to win the Super Bowl. But that was the moment that was burned in my mind. Emmitt Smith, great guy, great running back. And 22 is just a great number. It's it's perfectly, it's just perfectly, it's beautiful.
I got one memory of Emmitt Smith. This is gonna really show my age. He was on Dancing with the Stars.
Give me a break.
And my mom was watching it.
If you'd have talked about his time playing for the Cardinals, I would have accepted
That's
that.
what I was oh, man.
I never got to watch him play.
So
That's good, though, man. That's good. But look up that Meadowlands game, 93.
I will.
Look that up.
So it's funny. I got two quick things about the number 22. As an LSU fan myself, Mark Ingram, Alabama. It's like, hey, you're pulling for. I hate this team. I don't want, but I'm like about to say when the Saints traded up for Mark Ingram in that draft, I was like, thank God, yes, give me Mark Ingram, give me the Heisman Trophy winner, also award number 22, and also, I heard a cool story about Emmitt Smith about what kind of guy he is. When he played for the Cardinals with a young Larry Fitzgerald, he kind of took Larry under his wing and showed him kind of like the business of the business behind the scenes, and he told him one time, this is a cool story, he said, you pack 2 suits when we go on a road trip, one for the ride there and a different one for the ride home. And I guess that was just the professionalism, and I guess that was the point of that, but I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. Like, always look your best, always be a professional, be a consummate pro, and probably, hey, you could afford it, bring 2.
But if you go look up Emmett on his draft day, I don't know. The dress was a little. You'd have to go look at it. I don't know. But it was very early 90s, and it shows he grew a lot.
So I'll go next. I asked Siri what number I should do, and look, she gave me like 30 somethings, and I was going for the first number she would say that a player popped in my mind. So with no research, after 3 tries, she gave me the number 19. And the first person, being a Saints fan, Devery Henderson. Opelousas, not Catholic, Opelousas High.
Mm-hmm. It's my neck of the woods.
Watched him play at LSU. All right, the recipient of the Bluegrass Miracle. Watched him with the Saints for several years. Deep ball threat. Back when Drew's shoulder wasn't shot to hell and he could still throw one. Devery was a burner, man. He always fun to watch. I remember a good memory of him. He caught an end around at the homecoming game versus when they reopened the Dome against the Falcons on Monday Night Football. End around, scored a touchdown. Devery Henderson, my dude.
He had 2 numbers at LSU.
Number 9, and what was the other one?
26. He was a running back as a freshman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and a guy named Nick Saban said go to receiver.
That would probably explain why he had some issues with drops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was
at
a
LSU and in the league. He was kind of.
I didn't know that either.
Not the most sure-handed cat all the time, but great player.
I was trying to think of another 19. Like, did Ted Ginn wear the number? Did he wear 19?
I think with one of his teams he did. It's an obscure number.
It is.
There was Johnny Unitas, right? Was he a 19
was
before
a
all
19.
of our time? But he's a famous 19.
Joe Montana ended up at 19 with the Chiefs.
That's right. He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Interesting. Mine's 17. Growing up, being from Lafayette, Bro Bridge, that's our neighbor. Okay, Jake Delhomme was Bro Bridge guy, went to Turlings, went to UL, and got picked up by the Saints, and then ended up with the Panthers. Sorry, and that's who I grew up watching. Wore number 17. Okay, made it to a Super Bowl. He loved being around the horse races and training, and his dad was training. My dad worked on the gates, got to meet him a couple times. He signed the ball for me.
Always heard he was a good dude.
He's a great dude. Great
Humble.
guy. Going into my freshman year of high school, he agreed to work with me and train me at quarterback. So I got one-on-one lessons from Jake Delhomme my freshman and sophomore year of high school. And I was already number 15 at the time. So I stayed number 15. When I got to college, 17 became open. And I was like, I want 17. And they were like, why? And I was like, Jake Delhomme. They were like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Got it.
When you first told me 17 was your number, I was thinking, I don't know any 17s. I'm stupid. Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame quarterback in my lifetime. Like, Phillip Rivers, come on.
17 is, I don't know.
And a little trivia. I asked you this morning, so you know the answer. Coach Brownfield, you're not a Saints fan, but you know some trivia.
I do.
Jake Delhomme's number when he played for the Saints.
Oh, Lord. Was he 12?
He was 12. That's right. And
I didn't know that one.
I'll never forget, and talk about the domino or the butterfly effect, whatever. I was in the Superdome in 2002, the last game of the season. The Saints had 2 straight years of December just flops. Playing good, playing relatively decent football, and then collapse in December. Aaron Brooks, his shoulder was so banged up, he couldn't undo his chin strap on his right side. And he was just playing like trash. And then the entire Superdome, because he's a New Orleans guy, Jake Delhomme is. Not New Orleans guy, he's a Louisiana guy.
Yeah.
We want Jake. We want Jake.
It's like a Rudy moment.
We want Jake. It was like it was at a wrestling match. And I'll never forget that game because of the chant. And that was the one time the Superdome the seating in the upper level used to rise up to a peak at midfield. And that was the only time we ever sat on the 50, but we were at the very, very top of the house. Yeah. Which was cool. You would think, oh, it's bad seats. No. It was cool, you know. So, but yeah, we want Jake. And then had Jim Haslett replaced Aaron Brooks for Jake Delhomme, he would have probably won the job and started for us for several years, and we'd have never went after Drew Brees in 2006, 4 years later.
Right. Definitely butterfly effect there, man.
Like,
wow.
Now, would Jake have won the Super Bowl with the Saints? I don't know. You know?
Vinatieri crushed his dreams.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Tyler, would you like to take a second to explain the mustache, man? We've kind of gotten used to it around here. But,
yeah, it's kind of. I forgot about it.
I'm looking at it on camera, and I'm like,
we're in second sport mode. We're going to youth sports today. Second sports was last episode. I think this is a great transition. Talk to us about the stash.
Mustache March. That's part 1. Mustache March. You know that some people do no shave November, don't shave December. And Mustache March. The other reason was, at the time, baseball, the varsity team was 7-1 or somewhere around there. It was March 1st. Head coach, Coach Cowan, was like, everybody needs to mustache tomorrow. And it was a Friday night, getting into Saturday. I wake up, see the message, and I don't do it. I get to the field, and all the coaches have done it. And I'm like, oh, man. So they kind of give me a hard time. I get home, and I tell my wife, I'm like, I'm the only coach that didn't do it. And she was like, it's disgusting. I'm not looking at it. So I hurried up, shaved. Now I'm at a mustache, and I'm kind of grown. It's kind of growing on me, literally.
You could rock it. I would have made them all send pictures before I shaved, though, just to make sure it wasn't a prank.
I'd seen them.
Oh, okay.
When I got to school the Saturday.
Oh, no. I meant in the text message. Oh. Like, everybody needs to have a mustache for tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. When you shave, send me a picture.
Yeah. It was, I've gotten a lot of compliments saying, everybody said they're all terrible, but mine's the best. I don't know if they're just, pumping me up.
I got to give Coach Cowan some credit because his is got a fullness to it.
Yeah. It does.
And so it really it's very Tom Selleck-esque, the girth of the stash.
Coach Ricka kept the little soul patch.
And
right here.
you know Ricka's swag. You know he's gonna have the soul patch.
He's got to
with
have
the
something.
stash,
His
you know?
coach Tony Ricka, his wife, is kind of upset with him right now.
I guarantee she is.
Because they got pictures on Saturday.
Yeah, they got pregnancy pictures.
And she,
Oh.
he said, I ain't shaving it.
He told me that yesterday, and I said, "Man, your wife is going to choke you if you show up with that stash in pictures. She'll shave it in your sleep. I guarantee it." Oh, I love the Ricka family.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall when she's doing that.
I love the Ricka family. As is another running tradition on EATV, my affinity for the Rickas. I got bothering Brownfield during the softball game the other day. I was just putting Caleb Ricka over. He's the man.
Oh, he is. He's spectacular.
My
man.
dog.
He's spectacular.
But we haven't answered the question whether or not he's bad at math. We don't know that yet.
We don't know. I hope he is. I really hope he is.
He just needs one imperfection, right?
Because it doesn't matter at this point. Doesn't need math at this point. Kids, I'm lying. You need math all your life, but it'd be nice to know he's not great at everything.
Oh man, so let's get into our topic. I'm all flustered with all the mustaches and baseball and the Ricka family. Oh man, so let's get into our topic. Youth sports. What should they know when they get to us at the high school level? What's the purpose of youth sports? Travel leagues. What's the importance of those? What's the issues with those? What's the issues all around? Gee, start us off, man. Let's talk about what should they know when they get to us, because I feel like that's the most relevant thing we could talk about. That's relevant to our audience of high school coaches. What should they know day one? Coming here as a freshman, we're gonna coach them up. Where should we start?
I think there's a bunch of starting points. I think one big one is they need to know a weight room. Not necessarily to have the perfect lifts and but they need to know, hey, this is a barbell, this is a dumbbell, this is a rack. Like just the basics of it. That way you, whenever as a coach you say, hey, go get rack 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not, coach, what's a rack? It is just a foundation. And I think foundation is a word you can use across the board. As far as football goes, I'll speak on the offensive side. I think, again, you need the foundation. I think you have to know how to stance and starts, a good 3-point position, how to take a snap from under center. I think that's a lost.
Controversial.
I think that needs to be done. I mean, especially in the youth level, like you should be doing under center a lot.
Hell, I'd argue high school teams
Yes.
should always take snaps from under center, because if you want to run the clock out, I'm not shotgun snapping.
Yeah, no.
You got to be crazy.
I think there's just a foundation across the board. I don't really care about how many statistics you have coming into 9th grade. It's more along the lines of, can you reach block? Can you, do you know what a reach block is? Do you know what a scoop block is? Do you know what a down block is? Now, you don't have to know this is power, but at the same time, hey, when I say power, you block down, oh, okay, I know what down block is.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to down block, so now I can correlate down block to power. And I know that, I don't need you to be this guru either. Just if you can learn the foundations of it, that way, as coaches, we don't have to spend time teaching you foundation whenever we should be spending time with plays.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think you can get a head start on everything.
I completely agree with you. That baseline terminology of what is a down block, what is a reach, what is this, what is that, because a lot of coaches, and doing head coach interviews and talking to guys who, working under guys, obviously all these years, everyone wants alignment. They say, I want the middle school to run our stuff, and I want, you want all of that. But I was in a situation with South Lafourche where, hell, I worked with 3 different coaches in 5 years.
Yeah.
And, the middle school wasn't going to run the high school stuff because the high school didn't establish any sort of consistency
Right.
with the staff to be able to, like, oftentimes at the middle schools down there, I'm speaking in a specific situation, but down there, the middle school coaches were more tenured than all of the high school coaches, so they wasn't gonna run their stuff, you know. And I'm not by no stretch hating on the alignment piece. I think if you could get alignment, that's great. Like at South Terrebonne, we ran the wing T for 35 years under Coach Curlin, and I remember I didn't play middle school football because in our community nobody did. The rec league was still populated with most of your future high school players. So Coach John Falgood, I remember, he taught us the wing T. And
Nice.
at the time, I didn't know. I was in 7th and 8th grade. Didn't have a clue, but I knew what my jobs were. But when I got to high school, like, when I started learning football, I started looking back. I'm like, John taught us the wing T. Like, because he understood. And Curlin didn't tell him to do that. I think he knew.
Right.
He knew enough to, like, I need to prepare these guys when they get to South Terrebonne, because South Terrebonne pulled from Lower Terrebonne Parish, which is 2 different middle schools. So there's Montague Middle and there's the Cash Middle that serves as a show.
Kind of like Central and Gonzales. Here.
Correct, yeah. So, and our team had kids from both bayous, from both middle schools. So, and that was really cool too. You learned how to play together.
Right.
You learned how to play together.
Yeah.
And both of those middle schools had a combined team as well. It wasn't Montague and LaCache. It was together.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to that, the alignment piece is awesome, but I don't think it's necessary. I think if you could teach them some general stuff, how to get in a good stance, how to not false step, how to not have your head involved in a tackle.
Right.
If you could come to me on defense and understand that it's the nearest shoulder to the nearest hip, man, you saved me a ton of time.
Now you can really focus on individuals being tied to your install.
Yeah, because I talk about false steps and stuff, but I mean that's hard to train people out of, no matter how old they are. So I get it. That doesn't bother me. But man, do you understand that? Cover 2 is 2 safeties, cover 3 is 1 safety and 2 deep corners. Can you come to me with that? Again, it depends on your kids. You gotta dumb things down or advance things to the level that your kids can understand. But if you could come to me with some of that, man, that'd be cool.
And I think, like, as high school coaches, like, if a middle school coach to our feeder school would come and walk in and be like, hey, like, what are y'all doing? I think as high school coaches, we can't, like, I don't know the word I want to use. Like, we can't just say, no, you're going to do it this way.
Right.
Like, the way I see it is, like, hey, if you can teach them duo, power, and counter, and try to incorporate this passing combo and this route combo, like, if you can teach them that, they'll be ready for freshman football next year.
Yeah,
and call it whatever you want. Like, you can call it duo right, duo left. You can call it, what's your running back number? 7 right, 7. I don't care what you call it. Just make sure they know how to block it and how to effectively run it.
And that's why I think alignment is great, but not completely necessary. I think a lot of coaches lose sleep over it. And
Right.
like you said, change the name. Make the middle schoolers understand if you got to.
Yeah.
And Coach Javen at Gonzales, he started incorporating, running 2 read and stuff like that, even though, like, we called it something different last year, and we're going to call it something different this coming year. You'll be able to at least tell the kids, well, hey, what y'all call it at Gonzales? Or they'll be like, oh, we call it this. Yeah, okay, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, cool, got it, coach.
Yeah, so then they'll make the transition in their head. Like,
Yeah, like-
blue is now gold. Okay. now I
Right,
got it.
like, it don't matter what you call it, just make a connection. But I think more so than anything, give them the fundamental skills. I could teach them plays. I'll teach anybody plays. Let them come to me with some skills.
Yes.
Because
that we can work with.
Right, like it's hard to train guys. It's hard to train people to tackle correctly if some slappy youth coach is telling them to get your head across. That's antiquated. I'm sorry. And anybody who wants to challenge me on that, head across is antiquated. not the way of the world nowadays, and I will fight you on that one. But it's the truth. Like, near leg, near hip, leverage. You know, hey, I got a force player out there. I'm inside. We're gonna create a vice on him. I'm inside. He's outside. All right, cool. You ain't gotta know it's called vice.
Yeah.
You know, but
Right.
there's a fundamental aspect to that. I got help out there.
What you said about a lot of times middle school coaches being more tenured than high school coaches, especially because you're going to have more turnover at the high school level, you know, and those middle school guys are usually community guys who are not looking for anything else, you know, and you're going to get a lot of that head across, right? Because these guys have usually been in the game longer. They're not as attuned to the evolution of the game. So I think it is super important, you know, because those are those are very hard habits to break. If you've been doing that for 3 or 4 or 5 years in tackle football, and now you're in 9th grade, and all of a sudden coaches are telling you, "Oh no, don't do that." You know? That's tough.
So let's go with the purpose, the overall purpose of youth sports. Like it, and we'll take ourselves out of it as high school coaches. Like if you enrolled you have a daughter, so like if you enrolled your kid when she's old enough in some sort of sport or dance team or whatever the case, what do you want them to learn from that experience?
I think that's what's lost in today's youth sports, what we're about to talk about. And I want kids to be able to enjoy it. Like, I don't want their life to depend on it. And what I mean by that is everybody gets rings now, which I feel takes away from the state championships in high school. Because you're getting them at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. Okay, you might have a trophy case full of them. Well, now you're just adding to that collection. It's not special. My dad used to say all the time growing up playing rec ball, like, I don't care about the wins. Like, that kid will never be able to meet or be Derek Jeter. Let him go be Derek Jeter today. Like, have fun. That kid will never be A-Rod. That kid will never be Lance Berkman. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, have fun, enjoy it. Because if you take the joy and fun out of playing baseball, like you're playing a game, playing football, you're playing a game. If you lose that first word of playing, and now you're doing baseball or doing football, then that's where it becomes where you get kids burned out. I don't want to do both. I want to stick to this one because I played that too much. I already got rings.
You got to keep them excited about it, man.
And that head coach at DeRitter, Brad Pormley, was like, my son's not playing football yet. I'll let him play in middle school. He's not playing youth football, like, because he's around it all the time. He's with me on Friday nights. He's with us every practice. Like, he gets to middle school, he'll play. He's not playing any youth sports. I don't want him to get burned out. And now his son's like eager and like wants to play because he kept it fun for him. Yeah. I think that's what's lost in youth sports is the fun, because now all coaches want is the wins.
Yeah, and I guess this kind of bleeds into travel baseball. I coached a little travel baseball a couple years back, an umpire now, and what you're seeing is, especially with the ring. So we've devalued the trophy. I'm okay with getting a reward for winning the tournament at the end of the weekend. I'm all for that, because that's what it should be. We won, so we get something or whatever, some kind of accolade. I'm all for that, but we've kind of devalued it, because first place gets rings, second place gets rings. There could be 5 teams in the tournament, 2 out of the 5 teams. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm all for rewarding them, but like you said, it kind of devalues the meaning of that, of that prize.
And like, what are you teaching the kids at that point?
Right.
Like if you interview for a job, you come in second place, they're not going to cut you a check.
Nope.
For coming in second place, they're going to cut that first guy a check, though. I mean, like, what are you teaching kids these days that get the trophies for second and third place out of 4 or 5 teams? I'm all about competition. Like, we're going to have fun doing it, but we're still going to compete. Like, I'm not just saying go pick flowers, throw them in the air, and like twirly whirl. No, we're going to compete, but you're going to have fun competing.
Absolutely. And I'm going to get on this when we get on the list, but man, I did a 10U tournament last weekend. The weekend before, I did an 11U tournament. And I saw some really good coaching. Like,
Yeah.
Man,
That's good.
We talk about teaching fundamentals.
That's good.
And in baseball, you can see it a little more. You know, because baseball is kind of baseball no matter where you baseball.
Yeah.
There's only so much going on in baseball. And, man, I saw some really good coaching, man. I saw, you know, the head coach at third base, you know, a kid swings at a pitch he shouldn't have, and that coach is coaching. He's coaching them up. He's not just saying, oh, what are you doing? No. He's like, man, that's up here. Or he'll see something wrong with the swing, and he's like, man, you got to, and he's at third base, the kid steps out the box, the coach is demonstrating and spitting out those fast coaching points that we talk about with football. Like, hey, you got to have something that's shorthand, that way you can hurry up and correct it.
And they could be like, oh, okay, I remember that.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, okay. And they can make that adjustment really fast. And I saw some really good coaching.
That's
I was
good.
impressed.
Though.
I was impressed.
That's really good. That's a positive.
But
And this isn't a dog. Like, we're not trying to dog youth sports, because I think youth sports are very, very positive, because it gives kids that opportunity to grow, be active, because everybody knows that activity is like looked down upon these days.
Right, and you know, you gotta. And it's, you hear some of these guys, oh, you know, I don't care about the $5 ring, and everybody thinks, and I don't know if this is even relevant to the conversation, but I'm gonna go on this rant for a second. I watch on the NFL Network. It's called America's Game. It chronicles each Super Bowl champion. There's like 3 people from the team that talk about the season and whatever. I was watching the one on the Jets, Super Bowl III, and there's the Joe Namath Jets.
Yep.
Well, their wide receiver. And they didn't make any money playing football until like the 90s. Nobody made money playing sports. So they got a $10,000 bonus in 1971 or whatever it was for winning the Super Bowl per player. And that receiver throughout, he was chronicling the season. He's like, man, I just wanted that bonus, man. I was pumped about that. But he was pumped about the money. That was his reward.
Yeah.
But then, and a big part of this show is they show you the ring. And then they show him wearing it at the end, and he's like, you know, and then the defensive end on that team, they cut to him, and he said, it's the intrinsic value of the ring. He said, the money, you're going to spend that. And he said, but the intrinsic value, meaning like what it represents.
Right.
And that's why trophies, everybody gets a trophy generation and all this stuff, like, we've devalued it, because I don't care how much it costs. It should be what it represents. It represents... Because look, if you win a state championship in high school, the ring might cost $400. It might cost the same as a graduation ring, because like you're not gonna put a bunch of diamonds and stuff. So like it in the grand scheme of life, is it expensive? No, but it represents something.
It holds value to memories.
It's got value here,
yes.
you know, and that means something. You know, that means something. That's why guys will work their entire life trying to get one.
Yep.
Because it means something. Even in college, there's a limit on what they could spend, because it counts as like a gift or something.
I got one from the Southland Conference.
Yeah,
champs.
It means something, and that's why I think people get mad about the devaluation of trophies and things like that, because you robbed it of the meaning.
Yep.
It's supposed to represent winning.
Well, now and then travel ball organizations use it as a showcase. So look, you should play for us. Look at all these trophies we got.
Right.
Like look, or look. Hey, you got to pay $2,500, but look at the trophies we win.
And
like
in reality, you might have beaten 5 teams. Like I used to coach it. Like sometimes you sign up for these tournaments, and it's like
you're playing the same teams over and over again.
Yeah, we got 2 days of baseball. There's 6 teams in the whole damn thing. Like I'm again, reward the champion, but 100%. At the same time, what did you win?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So and that's why in high school, you know, or in the pros or in college, like in high school, Louisiana, the second place does get a trophy. Well, you also beat out 30 other teams. You know, well, 32 don't make it anymore, but it used to be 32 make it. One's a champion, one's a runner-up. Okay, you could have a silver medal because you beat out a lot of people too. That's fine. You know, but you know, no trophies for beating 6 people.
Real quick, let's go to high school travel leagues.
Okay.
7-on-7, summer ball, baseball, what's your take on that?
The same thing as in youth sports. If the coach is a clown, then I think it is not helpful. And I'm not so arrogant to think that because I'm a high school coach and you know it's my players and my team, you know how I feel about that. But your job, if you're running one of those leagues, is not necessarily to service the high school. However, if you have players that play for the team that I coach, I would like for the same values and things that I want the youth to teach. I want you to 7-on-7 is the big one. I don't want you to run 2-man every time. They don't learn nothing from that.
Right.
That's just 7-on-7 playbook. Okay?
Yeah.
They don't learn anything. I don't run any 2-man. Or I don't run it enough to where I need them to practice that all summer long, because then I want them to play zone, or I want them to press bail. I want them to disguise stuff, and then they get into 7-on-7 mode and think they could just lock up everybody, get in their face, and it's like, I'm training bad habits now. And that's why I don't like it, because it becomes all about winning. And again, I want you to play to win. Your job's not to service me, but can we get back to winning while teaching them something?
Yeah.
Can we get back to winning while teaching them something? Do we have to win no matter, at all costs, no matter what? I'm going to run the exact plays I need to win this league, not giving a crap about, well, he's got to go back to his high school coach on Monday. Can we work together as coaches? Can we bring that back?
I think that's the barrier right now, is some coaches are trying to make it on their own with the 7-on-7 leagues, while other coaches are trying to stick to, I don't want to say real football, but like organized 11-on-11 football. And I think across the board, exposure is great.
Yes.
Like if you're doing it for the exposure, and like obviously you're still getting the activity, like you're still getting the football work,
and you're competing. You learn how to compete. Mano a mano, go win that one. I'm all for it.
I think exposure is great because, like, yeah, in the summer we'll do 7-on-7, but it's local. Like, you might be able to travel and experience places you'll never see in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Same thing with baseball. Like, baseball, our summer program is going to stay local. We'll anywhere to where you can drive back and forth. You play for a travel team, you might go to Memphis or somewhere, Nashville, and play. You might never get to experience that again. And you might, I don't know, college coaches go watch some of these tournaments, and you might get exposure somewhere where you wouldn't at a tournament 5 minutes away.
And with the 7-on-7 thing, and here's the thing, I don't want it to sound like I'm all over it. Teenagers have a hard time compartmentalizing what it is. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's not the coach's fault. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a parent thing. Maybe we could go into all that later on. But, if a guy could compartmentalize, okay, I'm playing 7-on-7. This ain't nothing like what I'm doing in high school.
Yeah.
Like, this is a showcase. I'm showing my skills, my athleticism, because it's an athletic showcase, which is great because it might get you noticed. But if you can compartmentalize what this is different than what we do organized when I get back to school. If we could just do that, I think 7-on-7 could be super helpful.
I agree.
Because there's a maturity there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a maturity there. Okay, well, Coach, I know we could be playing a lot of zone this year, but when I go to 7-on-7, I got to lock some people up to get noticed. Hey, do your thing, man. Hope you win.
Some of those 7-on-7 coaches make more money than we do.
They do, and I think that's another piece of it. There's a financial aspect to it. There's a lot of money in training and lessons and having teams, and so like I said, I'm not crapping all over 7-on-7. I just think we gotta do a better job of teaching and explaining, and
we gotta close the gap between the two.
Yeah, we gotta work together.
As far as coaches going,
we gotta work together.
I agree.
You got to. Ooh, the list. All right, I'll kick it off.
There you go.
I'll kick off the list. On a positive note this week, touched on it earlier. There's 3 coaches that stand out from the last 2 weekends of me umpiring 10 and 11U baseball. Man, y'all make the list. Y'all make the list of good coaches for youth sports. They were teaching fundamentals. They were coaching their kids up. They wasn't just trying to win the drill. Because at that age, like they could, they'll make a lot of errors and mistakes.
Yeah.
They wasn't just trying to advance runners just to make the other team screw up. Like, you could tell they were teaching strategy, and they were coaching kids at the plate. They were coaching kids on strategy. It was awesome, and those 3 guys, they make the list this week, the good list, because, man, they were some good coaches for youth sports, and I think whatever schools those kids go to a couple years from now, those coaches, the high school coaches, could probably thank some of those guys, because that was some good coaching going on.
It's really good to hear. It's really good to hear that there's coaches in the youth sports still trying to do the right thing.
They were doing the right thing, man.
Mine is kind of like, I guess not a life lesson, but something along that lines. People who live life impatiently. That you make the list because, like, you know, I love to hunt and fish. If you can't do that without patience. Notice I didn't say catch and kill. Like I said, hunt and fish. Like there's patience in it. There's time that's put in, and yeah, people say, well, you're not promised tomorrow, so like you also have to make today happen. Like be patient and get through today. So I've said it before. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. Okay, so like just be patient with life in general. Like wait, don't just reel in the bobber because it didn't go down immediately. Like let it sit and collect and draw the fish in. That way the perfect bite will come. You can set the hook.
You speak right to me every time you get on this philosophical train. Because I am the most impatient person on God's earth.
I don't find you that impatient. Just in some aspects maybe, but I am too. I guess that we can all get better.
Yeah, my dad would have loved that, man. He would get mad every time I'd reel that thing in, man. I could hear him saying that right now. Yeah, so for me, it's volunteers. It's tournament season in baseball, and like, you know, all the people who make the tournaments happen that aren't on the field on the other side of the bricks. That's, you know, they make my list today. You know, you got people running scoreboards and people, you know, running cameras and people running, you know, concession stands, and dads coming out there and cooking burgers at 8 a.m, and you know, I mean, it's a lot. It takes a lot of people.
You're one of those guys, bro.
Well, yeah, but you know, but it's
I really do.
You know, but it is a lot of fun, and it's my job is more fun. I'm playing music and stuff, you know. But if you're back there flipping burgers for 3 hours, that's not as fun. You know, it's fun for the first 30 minutes, then it's like, good Lord, you know. So look, those people make it happen, and God bless them. Couldn't do it without them.
I like it.
All right, guys, give us the gong. Time to take this to class. I would say take it home, but we got a full day of work ahead of us.
We got a full day of Friday fun.
Oh,
Yes.
at Scott Impel on the socials.
At Coach Gaspard.
And Coach Brownfield, the voice of the Spartans. You can find him in a press box near you. And we are out of time. See you.